Welcome to the Elegance of Nae Podcast. I'm your host, Nae, and on this podcast, we talk about a variety of topics with amazing stories. Let's get into it, shall we? Hey guys, before we begin the show, we just want to give a quick shout out to TC's Art Gallery. That is T as in Tom, C as in Cat, S as in Sam, Art Gallery. They do amazing social media advertisement, logo design, website design, and they even help with social media management. Check them out today at tcsartgalleryllc.square.site. All right, let's start the show. Welcome back to the Elegance of Nae Podcast. I'm your host, Nae, and we have someone new in the building. We have the one and only Joshua Bruce in the building.
Yo,
What
yo,
it
yo.
do?
What it do? What
How
it
are
do,
you?
Nae? I'm good. I'm finally, I'm excited to finally be on the Elegance of Nae podcast. You've been going crazy with the episodes. I just feel honored and blessed to, share my story on this beautiful platform.
I appreciate it. No problem. Glad you can make it. Glad you can be here.
Most definitely.
Get this show on the road.
Most definitely.
So how you been? What's been new with you? What's going on?
New with me, I just graduated from Specs LTU
All right.
with my broadcast media certificate. Thank you. I just been maintaining my my job at the TV station.
Mm-hmm.
In this economy, I learned he definitely knew two jobs though. So I'm I'm searching for another job at the moment. I'm trying to maintain the business that you know about, and just trying to just be a better person one day at a time as well. Trying to work on myself, and more importantly, just make sure that I'm in one accord with God, and I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
All right. So how are you mentally and physically though?
Mentally, I'm okay. I feel like everybody has their periods of just I want to say elevation sometimes, because sometimes you feel like, you know, oh, like in this season, like, okay, bet I learned my lesson, it's cool, I am who I am. But as you get older, you gotta constantly readjust. And I feel like I'm at that point in my life where I gotta readjust certain mentalities and, kind of just grow in the area. So
yeah,
I definitely feel like I'm at that point in my life. So mentally, I'm okay. I'm not depressed or anything, but I'm just at a place where I'm like, okay, I know I need to grow.
Right.
Physically, I'm healthy. I definitely want to get back. Exactly. I definitely want to get back in the gym though. Freaking Edge is taking my membership every month, and I'm like, every month they take out money. I gotta be.
You
consistent.
gotta go,
Yeah.
right?
Because I used to be consistent, but I don't know. I'm not even gonna make excuses. Scratch that. I'm not even gonna make excuses. I ain't been going. That's the thing. I ain't been going. So
right.
I need to start going.
Yeah, I feel you on that. I gotta get back into the flow myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel you. So now, are you born and raised from Detroit, or are you from somewhere else?
Yeah, no, I am not from Detroit. My majority of my family, most of my family is from Detroit or from the South. I was born and raised in Farmington, and moved to Southfield for a while, and now I currently reside in West Bloomfield.
Okay.
So I've kind of been a suburb baby all my life, but Detroit has always had a special place for me. Like I said, most of my friends and family is from Detroit, so I would always go to Detroit every chance I got when I was little, even up till now.
Right.
I just feel like, although I'm not necessarily from here, I do feel a connection of the city here, and I commend even more the people who actually were born and raised here.
Right.
Shout out to them Lions. You know what I'm saying? They doing their thing.
Okay.
Showing the grit and resiliency, and I feel like that exactly embodies Detroit. You know what I'm saying? I can attest to that through my friends. You know what I'm saying? I see my friends who are resilient and just push, and you know what I'm saying, through it all, through the bad even, and it's just like, that just shows the spirit of Detroit. So I resonate in that, and I feel like this has a special place for me in my heart.
That's what's up. I feel that. So how were you growing up as a kid? Like, how were you? Were you like a bubbly kid? Were you a social butterfly, or were you more so to yourself?
I was to myself, but wanting to be a social butterfly, if that makes sense. I kind of, I don't know. It was weird. I kind of just enjoy being by myself, but I also still wanted the validation of my peers.
Mm-hmm.
Um, growing up, kind of like I would think around seventh grade, I kind of got my first taste of like bullying. I
Mm-hmm.
went to a predominantly white school
Mm-hmm.
at Oxford,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just different. Like I never really understood it at first, and then one time I got bullied by this one kid who will remain anonymous because I don't know, he might be listening. I don't know. He's cool with
Yeah.
my book. I don't know him right now. God bless, but
Yeah.
yeah, he got bullied because of my skin color, and I didn't really understand it. But I did have a friend who was still Caucasian who stood up for me. I will mention him. His name is Blake
Mm-hmm.
Chartrand. I'll never forget him. He
Yeah.
stood up for me that day, and that guy, I never forgot that moment. It's been years. I never forgot it. And in eighth grade, um, it was weird too because I tried to make friends um, during that time, but it wasn't how I thought I was gonna make friends. I realized that um, at this point I had moved. Excuse me. At this point I had moved back into um, a kind of a mixed area
Mm-hmm.
in Farmington, the school in Farmington. Black kids, white kids, Indian kids, whatever you name it.
Yeah,
So
diversity, strong
big
diversity.
diversity. So
Mm-hmm.
I was still kind of just I didn't really know how to make friends like that for real. But I realized that it was during a time where we're getting older, so kids are more impressionable. So what they see their parents or their big brother, or whatever their friends doing, that's what they wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I was still wearing I was still wearing video game clothes and graphic arts on my stuff, light up shoes.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, man, what are you wearing? Da, da, da. So a lot of people didn't want to be, cool with me because I was wearing that. And it made me feel bad.
Yeah.
But a lot of people it's weird because a lot of people would talk to me behind other people's back. They're like, hey, you're really cool, but I can't talk
Right.
to you in front of people. So growing up in that period of my life, that was
Mm-hmm.
really weird, and it made me
Yeah.
definitely made me feel bad in so many words.
Yeah,
So
that sounds weird.
yeah, but after that, I don't know what happened. I just was being me, and I just started to,
Adapt to more
yeah,
people.
just being a nice guy and treating people right no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And I just gained, I guess, I don't know if you want to say in so many words, popularity from that. A lot of people just gravitated me towards that. So that's what it was like growing up. It was kind of weird in between, not knowing who was who, like me or whatever. So
Yeah.
that was my journey growing up as a kid.
Okay. Now, as you gotten older, you said you're a graduate, of course. What did you go to school for?
So at first, I've always wanted to go to school for journalism,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't want to do journalism like news or one of the fears I had. I was like, I don't want to do reporting, and they got to send me to Afghanistan, and I got to do reporting in the middle of a war. I didn't want to
Yeah.
do that. I didn't want to do political. I thought political was always stupid, uh, for my own reasons. Um, but I love sports. I love football specifically, and so I was like, I want to be a sports journalist somehow, some way. I
Mm-hmm.
want to do reporting on sports. So I went to school to pursue communications. Um, Psychology even.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to learn how to talk, and I wanted to learn how to do studies with research and the human mind, how we react and stuff like that. So I took a couple classes like that. I took a business class as well,
Mm-hmm.
and I did pretty good. I got a job in the middle between that with Amazon, so I stopped going to school, and I
Mm-hmm.
got a job, and I realized I was like, man, okay, this job is cool, but I definitely want to go back to school and finish that. So fast forward till last year, I found listened to the radio, and um, I found Specs was merging with LTU,
Mm-hmm.
so I went and pursued that, and here I am now with my broadcast media art certificate, and moving forward from there.
That's what's up. So, how was the transition for you from high school into college? Like going into college, like was it an easy transition? Or was it a little difficult?
It was in between.
Mm.
I went to an early college. I got into early college my 12th grade year,
Mm.
and excuse me, it's weird because early college they force you to stay an extra year. It's what they call a 13th grade.
Mm.
So you're still a part of their program, but you're taking more college programs than you are taking high school. So you were taking
So it's like prep.
right. So
College
you
prep.
exactly you were doing both taking high school and college, but then when you got to the 13th grade, you were just more doing college and stuff like that. But you were still part of the school.
Right.
So I was around a lot of smart people who I thought was smarter than me. I feel like I really do feel blessed to be around those people. I was blessed to get in that school. I'm super thankful for that school even to the day. But the transition, it was kind of weird seeing a lot of people going to these high prestigious schools, and I'm like, well, um, I didn't really know exactly where I wanted. I knew I wanted to go to Michigan, but I didn't know. I was like, I don't know. I know Michigan's really hard to get into. I didn't know if I had the right grades to get into Michigan. A lot of my peers were like 3.9, 4.0 students, and I was kind of just in between. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
So I was like, okay, let me see. So I applied to different schools, and I definitely applied to Michigan, and they denied me, and I was very hurt by that. But I got accepted to other schools, but Michigan was kind of like, I wanted to go to, but college is expensive anyway, so I was like, okay, I got to figure something out. So I ended up going to Oakland Community College, where it was more less expensive. It was more easy to commute and stuff like that. So it was a good experience. I still I still met people along the way. Still learned a lot of good things from that, and I think once I got to college, it was just like okay, I'm here now moment. So let me just make the most of it.
Yeah.
Let me do what I'm supposed to do. Let me keep my head down and just make the most of it. But like I said earlier, I got a job, and I was like, man, I love making my own money. So I'm like, skip this. I'm about to work.
Do your thing, yeah.
Right, but that's
so how is it? Like, so you're at the time when I've met you, it's really when you're still going to school, and I met you while you were doing your podcasting. Now how was that intertwining with one another? Like, far as how did you even start that? Like, what was the process with your podcasting journey up until?
So, funny story is like this is actually during when I got the Amazon job, which I went to Amazon. Spoiler alert. And I used to go around telling people like, hey, I kind of want to go back to school and this and that. And I remember this one guy. He he told me when I told him about what I wanted to do. He's like, man, do that. Go ahead and do that. And he was like, just go ahead and he's like, that's a great idea. I think you should do it. And then I met my friend Nick, and he kind of was like reassurance around the same time. He was like, bro, he's like, you need to go ahead and do that. Like, just go ahead and start a podcast.
Right, like push yourself.
Yeah, he was like, he's like, what you want to do sounds great. Like, that sounds like a great idea. He was very supportive. Still my friend to this day. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna do that. So it was. I want to give a quick few shout outs to them because I never forgot that either.
Yeah. It's always good to have good friends that motivate you when you have a dream or something.
Most definitely. And,
true friends, not just the ones that just listen.
Exactly. Shout out to Don and Nick. Those were the first guys. I'm giving the flowers now. The Don and Nick were the first guys to tell me like, "Yo, go and do this. And don't stop." I gotta give a quick shout out to them. But so I started a podcast. I wanted to start a podcast. I was like, okay, what am I gonna talk about? And then like sports or whatever. So at first it was gonna be a sports podcast. And then I met these guys, Darwin, Justin, and some other guys. Well, it was me. It was really me. Oh, actually, Greg. Excuse me. Greg was a part of it. So it was me, Darwin, Justin, and Greg. We were all cool. We all hang out and stuff like that. And it clicked. I was like, wait a minute. I can do a podcast with these guys. So I pitched the idea to them. And they were like, sure. Why not? Whatever. Darwin being the most supportive of it. Shout out to Darwin. He was like, yeah. Like, he was like, I'll do it type stuff. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I was like, how do I start a podcast? I look up equipment. See how much equipment costs. Whoa, that's a lot of money. So I'm like, how do I budget this? Then I found an app called Anchor. Everybody knows Anchor now. So I was like, okay, cool. So it's funny because I wanted my topics to be uncensored, not necessarily vulgar, but I wanted to say what I want to say. I wanted them to say what they want to say so just that we can have raw.
Yeah.
So, and I was like, man, when am I going to come up with the name of the podcast? Raw, as you just said. I was like, okay, cool. Raw, authentic. What is it? Okay. everybody got their own path. Everybody has their own journey avenue. Oh, okay. I'm gonna call it the Raw Avenue. So the Raw Avenue was a podcast. So it's funny because as authentic as I wanted to be, I'm still with my folks, so I'm like, I can go in my room, you know what I'm saying, upstairs in my room, but I don't want to risk the fact that they can hear me or they hear other people. So I was just so paranoid about that. So I used to go in my car and just sit in my car so nobody can hear me. Because I just wanted that, I wanted that authenticity to come out, you know what I'm saying, of all of us. So, without judgment. So, but shout out to my parents, they support me. But yeah, so that we end up doing that, and we had a blast doing that, and we end up finding spaces that provided podcast spaces, and we end up doing a podcast there, and we had a fun journey. We interviewed a lot of people, who are actually doing their thing to this day. Like, we were one of their first interviews ever, and some people still reach out to me and thank us for providing that platform for them. And so that's one thing I want to say too. Like, what you're doing here is just amazing, because you never know who can look back and reach out and just like even give you a thank you for them to come on this platform and share their story. So shout out to the Elegance of Nae Podcast. Really,
I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. So that's the story of Raw Avenue in the beginning stage.
All right, yeah, I feel like it's dope because you not only for what you've went to, like far as for college, you've pushed that kind of mindset and trajectory into your platform and building your network. Now, how did the Raw Avenue network come about? How was that transition?
Yeah, so you know me, I like to be raw and authentic and truthful. So I'm gonna give you the truthful statement.
The truth will set you free.
Yeah, exactly. So without throwing anybody under the bus, I hold myself accountable too. One day we were doing, let me backtrack a little bit. I've always had, when I was doing a podcast, I had this function to elevate. I was like, man, I don't want to be a podcaster. I don't want to be a podcast, like, I got to make it a podcast. I was like, I want to expand this. How can I expand this?
Right.
So, seeing what I'm like, okay, I'm going to these spaces. I'm going to these places that provide equipment and spaces to do this. I was like, well, what if I did that? But not only am I providing a space, but I'm actually building something. We all collaborate and we can help each other in some type of way. So that's when the network came into my idea. So, excuse me, and I was slowly coming up in my brain, and so when I pitched it to other people, my co-hosts and my friends, we would have meetings and stuff like that at restaurants about episodes and stuff. When I pitched it to them, they were kind of on the fence about it. They were like, well, we kind of signed up to do a podcast. Let's be consistent in the podcast first.
Right.
And at that moment, I didn't really agree with it. I was like, well, this is, it was kind of prideful. It's like, well, I started this. I want to, I kind of want to do this.
Right.
But I had to learn that, sometimes when you have a vision, it don't have to be personal. It don't have to be personal. If somebody doesn't agree with it, you don't have to take that personal.
Yeah.
It's your vision. And if you feel like God told you to do that, or if you feel like that's what you need to do, then go ahead and do it. Don't take it to heart. That's one thing I had to learn growing up. Stop taking everything to heart.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just, you disagree with people. This is just life.
Yeah, I had to learn that the hard way myself.
Most definitely. You know what I'm saying? But at least we learn.
Yeah.
At least we learn. But it was a weird transition because I felt a lot of resistance, but I knew in my heart this is what I wanted to do. So I remember one night we did an episode, and it was something that was, it was in the middle of me transitioning to, finding media jobs and stuff like that to find it that met into my career, that matched into my career.
Right.
Going to school and stuff like that, meeting people. And I remember we did an episode that was like, one of our co-hosts said something that was kind of like very vulgar. And I was like, had another me moment where I'm like, yeah, this is not gonna sound good on my resume. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm like, in the middle of the episode, I'm like, hey man, like, I don't think we can joke or say anything like that.
Yeah.
And they were like, what happened to Raw Avenue? Like, I thought this was raw and authentic, which he had a point. But I was just like, that's when
like to a degree.
Right, yeah. And I realized, I'm like, dang, is it really raw if you know? I'm like, but am I doing the right thing though? So I was like, man, I'm sorry. Like I got to think about my future. And I got to think about what I really want to do. And I'm like, I need you to understand that. We had a disagreement, and they're like, yeah, you know what? I don't want to do it if I got to censor myself. That's the reason why. So
I feel like when it comes to Raw, it's like it's to a degree,
right?
Because I feel like if you can be raw, but if you start to get raw with a particular topic, it can go a little too broad.
Yeah.
And that's where it kind of contradicts. Like,
And,
I don't know if we should talk about
right.
that now.
And I mean, I guess certain platforms have the freedom to do that. But my idea, I was like, shoot, man, like we're still funding this ourselves. Like, we don't have anybody to support us to be like, man, say whatever you want to say, man. We still got your back.
Right.
I'm like, man, I still got to build this with my bare hands. You know what I'm saying? So
you still got to go. You still watering your plant.
I still got to watch what I do and watch what I say. So I have a mindset now that I don't feel like anybody was necessarily wrong. I think we just went down two different paths. At the end of the day, we're still friends. Everybody's cool with each other. It's just that's what happened to be. But I'm thankful because I was still able to do what I felt was in my heart that was right, which was build the network. So although I set the podcast aside, I was able to build the Raw Avenue network, and I was able to find a place, like Bamboo, to do something like that to start my network. So I bought investing in equipment. I learned how to edit, and I was like, okay, all right, let's do this. Right. I said, this is what I sacrificed. I sacrificed my podcast for this. Right. I had to give up something. I knew I had to give up something, but that was it. And so that is how the Raw Avenue network came about, is through sacrifice, through the podcast.
Okay, yeah. I feel like all of them still connect in a way anyway.
Most
like
definitely.
far as you going to college for your major, transitioning into, branching more into your time and investment as far as podcasting, and then branching that into a network. So that all kind of just, it's like a domino effect in a sense, but in a good way.
Right.
So I think that's really good. Now, far as like, now do you have like, can you like explain like more of your services or what you provide?
Oh
on
yeah,
your
most
network?
definitely. Oh, you put me on this episode. Okay. But
it is about you.
So. Right, I know. I mean, shoot, you're right. I'm a very modest, humble guy. So I it's hard to talk about me. I don't know why. It's just me. But anywho, so the Raw Avenue Network, basically, it is a network of podcasters. We offer editing service. So if you want to start a podcast or do any kind of content creation, whatever, we know how expensive equipment is. Trust me.
Yeah.
It's not easy to start that. Now, if you have the money for it, then go by all means do it. But I'm more aiming towards the people who have a story to tell, but it's like, you know what, it's kind of expensive for me right now, but I do want to go. That's the heart of it. Like, I want to help people who just want to go, but they kind of stuck. Because I've been there.
Yeah.
I've been there looking for help, and it's like, man, like I just need something. So God was able to bless me with equipment so that I can,
branch out.
Other people, right? Yeah. Branch out. So, and He blessed me with the talent to edit and stuff like that. So, okay. I'm like, okay, other people there's other places that you can go and get your stuff recorded at and stuff like that, and that's fine. I was like, but I need to have a niche that's going to really attract people.
Yeah,
so
that's what, affordable.
Right,
too.
Exactly. So I'm like, okay, low prices, and I was like, I want it to be a real network, like how CBS is. They have different shows under one network. So I'm like, why don't we do this with a podcast? You know what I'm saying? Podcast shows.
Right.
So the idea of it was to, bring these people who have a story to tell, let them tell their story and use the equipment and whatnot. But not only do that, collaborate with different podcasters, put on different events so that they can reach out to different people in the community. And I was like, you know what, this is what I want to do. So that's why I'm like, so okay, I got to put a lot of work in for these people. I gotta do most of the work so that these people feel like they're getting a bang for their buck. You know what I'm saying? So that is what we entail with the network. So editing services, events that you can be a part of exclusively. Shout out to you because you're helping me with my website. Shout out to Nae because she is a woman of many talents. Helping me with the website. The website is also, which is going to include blogs so that you can have access to reach out to your fan base and you can do daily blogs or whatever the case may be. We really want to help people on this media journey because a lot of people want to do this, but a lot of people don't know where to start or how to start. And they just need help.
That's true.
And I don't, I make it known too that Bamboo has their own podcast place, so you can be a member, which I recommend. Be a member and do your podcast. Only thing I say is that hey, that we're a network, so we try to help. We try to connect you. We try to do this. That's the difference. It's not just come here to get a podcast recorded. That's it. I feel like
you're trying to branch you out,
exactly,
help you grow.
Exactly. I'm not. Shout out to people who do make money that way. I'm not dissing them. I'm just saying that's not why I'm in it. I'm in it to really help people and build something and be a positive impact on the community.
Yeah, it's all the genuality of it.
Most definitely.
It's shout out break time. We want to give our love and support to the one and only Joshua Bruce with the Raw Ave Network. If you're a podcaster that's looking for someone to record your podcast, to edit your podcast, or even give you some helpful tips, check the Raw Ave out today at the Raw Ave _. If you want to get more details, the information will be down below in the description. All right, back to the show.
But yeah, so I think it's really dope that far as like motivating others and being able to guide them or help them get guided, it plays a huge role. And especially if you're really serious and genuine about it, it plays a major role in people's lives, especially branching into what they're going into or what they're trying to really pursue for their podcast. So I think that's really dope, and I'm proud of you for that.
Oh, thank you, Nae. I appreciate it.
So in the beginning, we had you pull something out of our lovely jar, and you've got motivations. So what motivations do you normally have within yourself, or as far as either music motivations, or do you listen to something every single day that helps you, stay motivated in what you do with your network or just in general?
That is the loaded question, and I'm prepared to give you a loaded. No. I'm saying thank you.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that you can keep up with me because I have a loaded answer for that.
Okay. Do your thing.
I'm a very I don't know, when I get to talking, that's like I just want to get everything out of my brain. So that's the type of guy I am. But
detailed.
Yeah, very detailed. But motivations for me. For starters, I can't do nothing without Jesus Christ. I can't. And I realized that just my life is just bigger than what I want to do personally. So motivation for me is knowing that he's the author and finisher of my life, and I have an opportunity to represent him and be used by him wherever I go. So I'm very cautious and very mindful of where I'm at, who I'm talking to, because I know it could be an opportunity where I can spread the gospel or present, for him to use me to present Christ-like actions or be kind to somebody, be nice, where they just like, dang, what is it about? It's not Joshua Bruce. It's like, oh, it's the God in me. It's Jesus Christ. And I can spread it like that. So that's motivation, because I always want to be used like that. I was like, man, I'm looking for an opportunity to be used by him. And I just want to, that stems from me helping people, because I feel like it's deeper than just, trying to find a career and stuff like that. We seriously lack a very important part about humans, is just being kind to each other and helping and loving each other.
Right.
So,
and that plays a big role too.
Exactly. So, and God knows that for sure. That's our problem. So I'm like, okay, I just want to make sure that my heart posture is right so that I can be used. So that's a motivation for me mainly. Some surface level motivations. I do listen to music. I'm more aware of what I listen to and what I put in my spirit.
Because it's crazy how that really affects us.
Exactly.
Like, it's really so weird. Crazy.
I think I saw this video one time about just music and how it affects like sound waves and how they go and how they spin and everything. I was like, wow, like that's crazy. Like that's really going in our brains and stuff like that. Like
and then how we remember either the words or the beat, or it's so detailed of how whoever makes music, it speaks in volumes.
Most
for
definitely.
sure.
And I'm like, I'm at a point now where I'm not perfect. I'm not gonna act like I'm perfect.
No one is.
Some music I'm like, I still gotta clean up. But I've been cleaning out my library and stuff like that, and I just realized like a lot of this music does not help me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like,
Where the motivation at, right?
Exactly. So I'm like, I'm trying to be more aware of what I listen to, and it could be hard sometimes. You're like, that is my favorite song. Like, hey, this go hard, this beat go crazy. But it's like, you know what? It's for a bigger purpose.
Yeah.
And I got to get rid of it. So I'm on that journey of that. But mainly, I like listening to jazz. I like techno. I like alternative music. I like, really. No cap. I like it. It makes you feel good. It's just like
Absolutely,
yeah, it makes you want to move. I'm like, okay, I like this. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
I love. I don't know exactly what they call it. I don't know what the exact genre is called, but it's in the
like
realm
neo
of
soul.
R&B.
Neo soul.
Neo soul.
Mm-hmm.
I really love neo soul.
I've been liking that too now.
Yeah, like your season 1 intros I was telling you about earlier, pre-show. love that type of music. Some other motivations is just like I don't know, some of my peers around me, just seeing them on their journey, seeing that they're that they're becoming men and women of purpose. Kind of just subconsciously is like, okay, keep up. You don't want to be left behind. You know what I'm saying? You want to be in line of, obviously you're not comparing yourself, but you just want to be on that journey. You want to be on that avenue of just, working towards a goal.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they can be further down the road than me, but hey, I still see you. If you look back, you see me too. Right. I don't want to be that person that's still on the porch just watching everybody go by. You know what I'm saying? Right. I don't never want to be that.
You got your own path. You got your own life too.
Exactly. I get so uncomfortable being that way. I'm like, I don't know. Like, for instance, I remember I got COVID again last year, and it sat me down and
said, settle down.
Exactly. I mean, it's nothing wrong with rest. There's nothing
of course.
wrong with rest.
You need your rest to be able to do what God has done for you.
But I remember when I felt better, I was still like, I still had to quarantine. So I'm like in my bed and I'm like, oh man, this sucks. Like, I gotta get up. I don't want to be like, I had my fun of just laying here and being on YouTube and chilling and stuff like that. Okay, that's cool, but now I got to get up. Like, I want to move.
You want to go somewhere.
Exactly. So I'm actually glad that's embedded in me, but you know what I'm saying? But I know how easy it is to kind of be complacent. So I never want to be that way. I never want to be complacent, just laying down and stuff like that.
When I had it was terrible.
Yeah.
Like, I swear, like, I felt so uneasy.
Yeah, most definitely.
I wanted to go outside so bad. I felt like a little kid, just eager to get out the door.
Right, you know what I'm saying?
And then not to be able to be around, and not to be able to be around family or friends during that moment. It was just like, no, I can't do this.
Yeah,
I don't know how people do this.
Most definitely,
especially when you feel that alone energy, like you're alone.
Oh man, tell me about it.
It was like, oof, I can't. I said, I don't want to just see y'all through a screen. Come see me.
Right.
So yeah, I swear I was skipping when I came out the house. I was clear. I was like, let's do this. We're outdoors.
It's like but motivation though. It's like, okay, I ain't gonna be constrained to this bed or this couch, whatever. I'm gonna get out here. I'm going to make something happen, even if it's a little thing. Like I don't know, it could be getting in your steps for the day. You know what I'm saying? It's progress. I think that's one thing we got to realize: is progress, no matter what it is. You can. If you're just the laziest person in the world, right? And your goal is to at least go out and touch some grass or something.
Exactly.
If you go out and you touch a blade of grass, I count that as progress.
Right.
Because you could have just sat in the bed and not did anything. So it's like, okay, just stack your wins. You know what I'm saying? Next week, go touch another blade of grass. You know what I'm saying? Then after that, go touch 3. Then go, you know what? Walk on your lawn. Go ahead, do that.
Plan progress. Don't just sit still. Try to
most definitely,
push through and do what you need to do.
Most definitely. I never down anybody for taking steps in the right direction. Ever. And we all fall down. We all mess up. We all make mistakes, and sometimes we go backwards. But as long as you get back up, as long as you dust yourself off and keep going, and I can't fault anybody for that. You know what I'm saying?
I feel that. No, that's something better than nothing for sure.
Most definitely.
Now, also in the beginning, we had you choose between a number 1 through 10.
Yeah.
And you chose 7. And number 7 is with only 3 words, describe this word. So I'm gonna throw out a word, and you gotta think of 3 other words that describes that particular word. So example, if I say describe, like if I throw out apple, like what's 3 words that describe apple?
Okay.
Type energy, you know. So
Gotcha.
your word is podcast.
Storytelling. Authenticity. Caught my words up. Journey.
Okay.
I'm trying not to be corny, but that's what popped up in my head. I was like, don't say anything corny. Don't say anything corny. Don't say anything corny. Journey.
It'd be like that. Yeah. That's good. Yeah, that definitely describes, podcasting for sure.
Yeah, most definitely.
I was thinking for the last one, I was like, maybe networking. I'm like, I think he might say
yeah,
network.
I mean, that crossed my brain, but I quickly cast that one. I was like, I already said that earlier. Something else.
Yeah.
I mean, like, but I wanted to be real. I was like, okay, what else can I say other than network? And I'm like, well, journey. Like everybody, for me, it's just like podcasting, how it should be. It's a form of journalism.
Absolutely.
So it's like, all
documentation.
Right. Exactly. So for me, it's like, all right, during this time of podcasting, and you're going to go through a journey. You're going to meet different people. You're going to talk about different things.
Yeah.
Now, hopefully, you're a good podcast. You're not talking about anything that's going to harm people or just give people junk.
Yeah.
But even that, I feel like, it's still a journey. You know what I'm saying? You learn your lessons. You meet people, like I said, and you just go through it, and you just be sometimes one day you're gonna look back and be like, dang, I did that. Whether that's a good feeling or bad feeling.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like that's what I always tell people, like when we're so busy, we don't notice how far we've come from the beginning stages until we sit back and we're like, I accomplished. Oh yeah, I sure did. Exactly. Like, oh man, Exactly. So I feel like when we have that moment of pausing and just really reciting or going back and realizing that, hey, like, okay, yeah, like a few years ago I was not here,
right?
Or a few years ago I prayed for this and now I'm here. It's already been accomplished or prayed for. Exactly. So a lot of times we don't dwell in those moments until it dawns on us.
Most definitely. And I think, like I said, like the word I was twisting my tongue on accident, it's that authenticity that we need to actually realize that, hey, I am on a journey and I am a person that's learning and growing and stuff like that. Even if you did something wrong, I feel like if you're really honest with yourself and you're really just humble and you're willing to really learn, you can go back and look at like, you know what, that wasn't the right thing to do.
Yeah.
But at least I learned. And that's a journey, like I said. And I just be like, even if it's like that, I just be like, I don't know. I find the beauty in that, where it's just like, all right, I'd like to look at things through God's perspective as best as I can.
Yeah.
And it's crazy, like how he, the big thing is sin, right? Okay, we gotta repent for our sins because obviously we go against God and our human nature. But if you really know the God of the Bible, which I serve, he's like, it's kind of it's mind blowing. It's like, all right, no matter what you did, you come to me, I forgive you, I put you on a new path.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, and I try to just extend that same grace to myself and other people. It's like, hey, you know what? No matter what you did, you can still come back from it, because there's a God out there that says the same thing. You can, your past is your past. If you come back and you come to him humbly and ask for forgiveness, he said he'll cast your sins as far as the east is from the west. He put it in sea forgetfulness. Now you on a new path. Like you can do that. I feel like that's just something that we can really just add that to our lives and be like, you know what? My past does not define me. What I did, right? What I'm saying, it may have been wrong, but I learned from that. I accept the consequences of that. I'm on a new journey. I'm on a new path.
Yeah.
And I feel like once we just, like I said, be real with ourselves, then that'll get you that drive to just keep going and understand that life is a journey, not a destination.
Absolutely. I feel like the more we seek him, the more he guides us. The more that we pay attention to what he has out for us instead of trying to have our own little lead.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, I'll let you lead,
right?
but I'm gonna see how they go for you.
Exactly.
And once you see how that goes for you, I'll show you how I lead, and then we can get to where I want you to be. So it definitely plays major factors of the difference between the two.
Yeah.
Now, do you have any questions or anything? Or anything that's coming soon?
Questions. I get to ask you on your own podcast some questions. Okay. Shoot, now. Hi, I'm Joshua Bruce, host of the Elegance Of Nae Podcast. No, shoot, I might as well ask you some questions. What has your journey been like through this podcast? Like, what is it? What is the experience? We talk about journey. We talk about, just the marathon that we all go. What has it been like for you?
Interesting.
Yeah,
I would say, because like it's funny because how I started last year, I was just having a one-on-one, Bible study time with myself. God.
Shout out to Bible study.
Yes, and I was just asking God. I was like, I want to get to know more people in their stories. And then probably a few weeks later, I kept getting asked, "Oh, when are you gonna have your podcast? When are you gonna do this? When are you gonna do that?" I'm like, I didn't even think of it like that. I can literally create a platform to just learn people's stories. Because I always say to people, I said, like, just to put the scenario out, imagine yourself walking in the library and you come across a book with me. Like, it's like me coming into a library and I walk across like a book with your name on it. What does it say? Like, when I open the pages, what is the image? Or another example, like me walking down the street and I come across a storefront with your name on it. What's on the outside? What's in that, window? Okay, I see what's in the window. Can I come in? Can I see what's in the first entrance?
Yeah.
See what's aligned amongst your store? Okay, let's go behind the door. Like,
you a real journalist? Okay, okay.
Like, I'm just trying
to journalists in the world.
Yeah, and then it's like after y'all go through your little storefront, okay, what's in the back? Where the storage at? What's back here?
Yeah.
What can I go a little deeper into that? What's going on? So ever since I built that scenario and that characteristic, I just went with that. And that's how season 1 came about. And then wound up getting Google verified with it.
Yeah.
And then going into it. And after that, wound up getting ready for this season 2. And wound up getting overly booked to where now I have people for season 3.
I'm thankful. Thankful I was able to squeeze in. You know what I'm saying? So.
That's why I was telling people, I said, look, I didn't even expect the amount of people that filled out so fast. I was just, sending the form out to people. I didn't think all of them would reply or majority of them would reply back. So, which was dope, and I'm here for it, and just going from there.
The blessings, he said they run up over. You know what I'm saying? You got that cup. You like, oh shoot, that's more than I I can handle. But that's good though.
Yeah, it is.
It's good. It's really good. So,
especially with the first few. My solo episodes is what really started it.
Yeah, I remember
because
those.
People didn't expect it to be so deep and transparent.
Yep.
And I didn't even expect the feedback that I've gotten from those first few episodes, which was crazy. Like, people were saying how they relate to it, how they've been through the same thing. Some people that were close to me didn't even know I went through it.
Yeah.
So it was just like, I was like, some of that stuff ain't just an easy topic to talk about.
But that's good though. Like, you were an example of what you wanted in your own podcast. You wanted to be open. You wanted to show people, hey, this is Nae.
Yeah.
And you kind of required that of the same of your guests. Like, come on this platform and share your story. So you kind of just paved the way for that. You know what I'm saying? So that's good. And I think that's I don't know. I want to be careful on that. I was gonna say I think a lot of us should do that, but it's hard because a lot of people are very guarded, and for the right reasons.
Yeah.
But I feel like, I don't know. I pray that people one day get to a place in their lives where they can trust people, and they can understand that, and just rely on people. Because I know people got trust issues. I even got trust issues a little bit. But I just really desire for a lot of people to get to a place in life where they can feel that they can at least trust God. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
At least on God, because he'll put you around the right people.
Absolutely.
You know
That's
what I'm saying?
the crazy. Oh, I'm so glad you said
come
that.
on, let's talk about it.
Look, so that's kind of how I met you and
Really?
Bobby. So I met you guys from like right after going through a very tough relationship. I literally left that relationship and then I met you guys.
Oh, man, I'm glad it's
And you
audio
know
only. You
what's
got me cheesing,
crazy?
man.
No, but what you know what's crazy is the fact that I came from a very toxic relationship and more to it, but you know, that's one of it. It was a little toxic to
Yeah.
where I was like, I didn't know where I want to go. I didn't know
Yeah.
how I was mentally after that. And to finally meet you guys, and what's even more crazy, I didn't even really know you. I only met you
Yeah,
twice.
yeah.
And I already had that sense of comfortability amongst both of y'all. Like
Mhm.
God was telling me, you can trust them.
Mhm.
And I never had that before. I was like, who are these people?
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I don't know these guys. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just here. I'm just trying to be my authentic self. And
Mhm.
I was just growing into my brand. And I didn't even have that at first. And then when I was like getting to know y'all, I was just like,
Yeah.
God up to something.
Uh-huh. Most
Because I
definitely.
was like, I have never, like I said, I've never like, because I grew up with the safety alert. My mom taught me safety tips and how to, you know, let people do certain things or whatnot, or be careful around certain people.
Yeah, most
But I
definitely.
didn't have to have that. Like I didn't feel like I needed to have my guard up when me and y'all, and then to find out y'all was very like God fearing, and that blew my mind too, because it was very hard to find individuals that's in our age group
Yeah.
that are God fearing, which is sad to say, but
Mhm.
it's still like I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
look,
I
look what
mean,
we doing
that's
here.
the thing that God says though, like, you know, we're set apart
Yeah.
and we're lights of the world. And I feel like that's fulfillment and purpose alone in that
Mm-hmm.
is to be like, you know what? I am set apart in Christ. It's not a prideful thing.
Yeah.
It's just knowing that, you know what?
We on the right
That's
team.
right. And
I'm
that's
just
and
saying.
that's just represents the God that's in us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So now I got this feeling I gotta tell people about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you know, and you just wanna be set apart. You don't wanna be like everybody else.
Yeah.
You don't wanna be
Be
you don't wanna
yourself.
yeah, you don't wanna fit in with the culture. I
I
mean,
I never like growing up. If you ever meet either family or close friends that I've grew up with,
mhm,
they would tell you like I've never been a person to follow after anybody. I'm
yeah.
more of a leader. I've never wanted to do that because I feel like if I'm following after someone, either you're a good follower, like far as a good leader, I mean, and you're leaning down a very wise, full mindful mindset, or like you learn people after a while
Yeah.
and you branch yourself away or drift away from
Yeah.
others after a while of knowing who they are
Right.
or finding out who they are.
Yeah, most definitely. And I do want to say, like, you know, I know I've been fluffy this whole podcast, but it is important to realize who you're around because some people just
Mm-hmm.
won't change.
Show
Some
well.
people are unfortunately set in their ways,
Mm-hmm.
and all you can do is pray for them. I
Yeah,
mean, even at a certain point, you know what I'm saying?
love from a distance
Yeah,
after a while,
most
because
definitely.
it when we look back, it's like when you see it starting to get emotionally or physically draining
Yeah,
to be around them when you
that's
don't
when you
see
gotta
their
let God
growth.
handle them. Yeah,
Yeah,
you gotta
because
let
it's
God
like
handle them for
if
sure.
I'm growing and you still the same,
Right.
I gotta move on.
Most definitely. And it's a very hard thing to do,
Yeah.
but it's necessary, most definitely. And I've had to do that a few times in my life, and it's very
Yeah,
painful.
it
But
is.
when you realize that when God's telling you to grow, you got to grow. You got to move when He's telling you to move.
Mm.
Let God deal with people. You know, sometimes we try to force our logic or we try to force our faith on
Mm-hmm.
other people, and that's the difference. We're not supposed to force it. We're
Yeah,
supposed to be an example, and if somebody wants it, that if God opens the heart and they want to receive it, then amen. But if they don't, then it's just like
it is what it
it
is.
is what it is, and
Yeah,
now you have to make a decision. You want to keep being around this person, or is it too much where you had to separate yourself?
yeah.
So I think we have to use wisdom. You got to use
Mm-hmm.
discernment, all attributes of God. You got to be connected with Him. You got to know His Word. You got to pray daily. And that's something, like I said, I'm trying to do better myself, and I'm just advocating this because I know it's changed my life,
Yeah.
and I know how true and how real it is. And so,
And at least you
yeah,
acknowledge that too, because not a lot of people acknowledge their growth or knowing that they need to grow
yeah.
or grow up.
Oh, I'm not perfect.
Yeah, no, nobody's perfect.
I'm not perfect.
Nobody's
from perfect
at all.
I definitely look at myself in the mirror daily and be like, dude, change this, man.
Yeah, change.
Or ask God, like, please fix this.
Help you through it.
Help me, because I'm like, this is not something I should
like. This ain't it.
Right.
Now, before we close, do you have anything new coming for as events or websites or anything like you trying to promote?
Well, the Raw Avenue Network and I don't know. Do you want to like connect the podcast to this or the other brand? Okay, the Elegance Of Nae Podcast, Nae. We are hosting our second. It's a third event, but it's a second. It's branching off a second event, a live podcasting event that is untitled at the moment. Scheduled for later this year, hopefully in the summertime. Last year, to give you some context, we invited 5 podcasters out to do a live podcast for 30 minutes, do their show live for 30 minutes in front of a live audience. And it was very successful. So we decided, you know what? Let's try to do this on a bigger scale. So we came up with the idea of doing a podcast tour and kind of going all out on this, going to different colleges, three colleges to be exact, and hosting different ones to do, podcasts and stuff like that. So more details on that to be coming soon. Definitely people who are under the network get, exclusive parts of that.
Get their brands out there.
Most definitely.
Podcasts
and, we plan on having vendors and stuff like that, being like a real big event, getting recorded, and hopefully get the news out there. We're going to try.
Stay tuned, y'all. Stay
tuned. Hopefully Raw Avenue wants to do, they want to do I'm not a part of it. We want to do monthly events, hopefully one day. That's still in the works like that. Like I said earlier in the episode, website is being built. A lot of things to come. And if I can, just shout out the people under my network real quick.
Yeah. And then also shout out the IG too.
Most definitely. A shout out to Ignorant Geniuses. They helped me start this whole thing. They were the first show to help me build this network. So I'm forever grateful for that show and those people who run that show. Shout out to Guard Your Heart, another based off a show that helped me get this stuff off the ground. Shout out to Shama. Shout out to everybody who just helped me along the way. Darwin, Bobby, Nick, my family, Nae, of course you. I cannot forget you because you helped me in so many ways, and I just forever appreciate you.
Yeah, no problem.
Man, I'm going a long list. Everybody just means something to me.
Right. That's what's up. That's good energy to be around.
Yeah, most definitely. All you guys, you know who you are. So I appreciate you guys. And that's about it for Raw Avenue Network. My IG is Josh Since 97. So that's JOSHSINCE, the numbers 97. That's on Instagram. It's really all I'm on for real. I mean on Facebook, but don't add me on Facebook.
Also the Raw Ave.
Oh yeah, the Raw Avenue Network on Instagram. The Raw Ave _. You can find that on Instagram. Well, like I said, website coming soon. So be on the lookout for those podcasts. Under the network though, Guard Your Heart. They got merchandise and all the things you can good content on Instagram, Reels, anything like that. And Ignorant Geniuses, they put out episodes weekly, and they're funny but good, very good.
Raw, for sure.
Yeah, very entertaining podcast.
Yeah,
and I definitely love their podcast.
Yeah. Awesome. And then guys, make sure to check the description down below, and we'll have all of his info down there as well, just in case you guys didn't catch that. But we also will be seeing, is it gonna be a part 2?
Most definitely.
All right.
You're the one who's booked. I'm glad I was able to find my spot in here. Yeah, definitely. Let me know.
Well, all right, guys, look for that part 2. That'll be on our Patreon and it will be on our YouTube. But you gotta, not really on the YouTube, but it'll be on here on Spotify and our Patreon. Yes. So make sure you guys subscribe, be a member of ours, so you can get that part 2 and a deeper dive into part 1. All right. Until next time. See you guys.
Bye.
It's a wrap. It was great seeing you. We're so happy you joined us for this episode. Can't wait to see you next time. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And check out our information down below in the description. See you till next time. Bye. coming up on next week's episode.
I lacked a lot of discipline across the board. I wasn't like a bad kid or anything. I was definitely a class clown. I don't know how to stop talking, talk a lot. I like to crack a joke. I love a key. I love a good key.